Alright, what is up guys? Welcome to my Fallout New Vegas review. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is the Ultimate Edition. The reason that is because I got the game pre-owned, but it was like one of those like standard like PlayStation 4 or Xbox type of thing. Hold on, let me turn on the slide, see if that helps. Yeah. So I know this game came out 10 years ago, but if for some reason I used words like it just came out, sorry about that. I'm not good with reviews. This is my first time. So I will be including the DLCs in this one. I've had the game for like almost a year, but I've had this for like a couple months. I really enjoy it, by the way. I was very surprised by it. So here's how I'm gonna start this. Sorry. So how I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna do all 4 endings, and then I'm gonna go over companions, and then there's some of the stuff I don't like, because there are some stuff I don't like. And pre-warning, some of the stuff I actually played this as a kid back whenever I was in like high school, I think freshman sophomore year, and then after I graduated I just started picking it up. So some of my bias could come towards the fact that I've played this almost a year or like more than a year ago as opposed to recent. So but I've played it a lot now as opposed to high school year, because I barely even finished the first time during my high school year. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, let's start with sorry. I just woke up, so you have to forgive me. So I want to start with the NCR ending, because that seems a bit, because that's the one that everyone seems to go for. Like a lot of YouTubers would do the NCR or the Yes Man, but no one ever does some of the other ones. So the NCR, I do think it's a bit weird. I don't really like it. It's not my least favorite, but it's not my most favorite. What kind of changes it for me is Colonel Moore. Some of you guys who play the game know that Colonel Moore can be found whenever you side with the NCR or Yes Man, depending on how you want to do it. And then she's the person to go to after you deal with the people in Freeside, or the Boomers, or Ambassador Crocker in New Vegas. So she's mostly the Hoover Dam half of the NCR ending. So, or to build up to it before the Battle of the Hoover Dam. She's kind of the deal breaker for me, because I love the Brotherhood of Steel, which to some of my family or friends who know what I'm like, then they wouldn't be surprised by that. So yeah, I personally believe that with the NCR, it is. I do hate on how they decide to deal with the NCR, like, oh, we must destroy it. Even though if you go to people like Yes Man, or if you do the Yes Man or Mr. House ending, or the NCR or whatever, they do not, or the Legion, sorry, they will learn that the Brotherhood of Steel has no intentions of giving up, or no intentions of taking Hoover Dam or taking over New Vegas. As seen by the NCR ending, where you try to sign a peace treaty with them. They're like, we have no intentions for taking Hoover Dam or Helios 1, which was a big thing if you guys know the story. So personally for me, I would say if I had to rank them, NCR would be number 3. Even though technically I've been trying out some builds, they're the one I always go to, because I want to make a perfect one for some of the other endings. Alright, so now let's move on to Legion. And I'm going by like outside New Vegas and then inside New Vegas, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So Legion is by far my favorite ending. Now, don't think that just because if New Vegas actually happened, I would side with them, because that is far from the truth. As I'm sure a lot of people would. But with me, something about the Legion is fun because I can roleplay it. I'm not much of a role-playing person myself, but especially with games like Fallout 4, where like companion reactions and all that, and like, oh, this companion disliked that, or this companion liked that, or whatnot. That seems very hard for me to do. Well, at least for certain companions, because I barely use them. But with Legion, I have really fun time because there's a lot of Legion or NCR areas, and I can just destroy them as much as I want. So something like that seems pretty fun. And yeah, again, excuse me, I coming down with something. Uh, but even though I don't like destroying the Brotherhood, I have no problem with it. I do find a way to keep one companion, or Veronica, because you're watching this, you already know New Vegas, probably. I did find a way to keep her while destroying the Brotherhood. It's not that hard, if you know where to look or where to go. So, other than that, I would say just, oh gosh, never mind. Which I can tell you all about later. Sorry, I could have sworn I thought someone was in my apartment. You have to excuse me for that. So, yeah, any chance I get to start with the Legion, I will. But my builds, the builds I use, don't really call for much of it, so that's about it. Mr. House. Oh, I can't think of anything else for the Legion. You can assassinate President Kimball, which I failed the first time, but then after a while I was like, here's how you do it. It's not that hard. To be honest, it's not. Unless you don't know what you're doing, then it's like the most difficult thing ever. Mr. House, I do not like Mr. House. I've played the game over 20 times. I lost count after like 5 or maybe 10. But of the 20 times I've played Mr. House, or I've played New Vegas, I have done Mr. House done the Mr. House ending maybe 3 times. Maybe 2. I don't know. And the reason that is because he has a very, if you look at the lore, thanks to Oxhorn, even though no, anyway, he's very greedy with it, because even though like he doesn't want to drive the NCR out, he treats them like garbage. Like, something about it, like the NCR would have to pay more than we do in the real world as opposed to that world, because instead of paying like percent, like here, from what I hear, I'm not an economist or anything, I'm just dropout, or not a dropout, I'm just 18 years old, there's nothing I can do. But from what I hear, we pay like per the cent, but then we pay with dollars. There, they would have, if caps were dollars, they would, like, our American dollar, because I'm in America, that's where the game takes place, in the Commonwealth of Fallout, then they would be paid by the dollar, which is far more expensive than us. So he's greedy about it. It's the same thing with water and all the electricity, even though there is none. The only people who would have electricity, I guarantee you, will be Freeside, or, well, if you decide to divert the power to Freeside in that lucky old sun off at Helios 1. But I barely do that because companions and all that, which I'll get into. But something about Mr. House just bothers me. I'd rather prefer Colonel Moore as opposed to Mr. House. I did get a chance to kill Colonel Moore, and that was bad, because I didn't realize that if you kill Moore, then President Kimball wouldn't show up. So yeah, so that was a mistake as I was playing my Legion ending. And then yes, man. Yes Man's kind of indifferent. I mean, he's second on the list, so it would go NCR or Legion, Yes Man, NCR, and then House. Even though I played the NCR a lot more than the Legion, but that doesn't mean I would side with the Legion if this was real, because it's not. So, yeah, Yes Man, I kind of like the whole thing of like everyone has their own power as opposed to like either one man, one power, or one robot and one power. So I believe that like everyone should have free power over themselves, especially now because I'm fucked in the head and all this shit that's going on in this world, especially with like how much you have to pay for shit, bothers the fuck out of me. So I would definitely side with Yes Man if that was the case. Although I hear that you're mostly just mirroring Mr. House. Just he's a bit more friendly. Only if Mr. House was a bit more friendly and not so much of an asshole. Because he's a fucking asshole. I'm just gonna be honest, he's an asshole because he only cares about New Vegas as opposed to people in Good Springs or Novak or Prim. That's what it was. It's been a while since I played the game. You'll have to excuse me. So yeah. And moreover, even though and with the Mr. House ending, you have to excuse me, I cannot think right now. I'm trying to like recall some stuff. So, but with the House ending, he merely uses Victor. Mr. House uses Victor to check up on Good Springs. But with the Yes Man ending, Good Springs just thrives, makes it better. In a sense, if I recall properly. I stopped paying attention after I beat the game like 20 times. But, so, Mr. House doesn't really help Good Springs, but Yes Man does, even though it's become an archdick. But, whatever, right? Anyway, so, those are my opinions. Now I'm gonna go over the companions. So how I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna treat it as if you start from Good Springs and then you go to Prim, and then you go all the way around to Black Mountain. So instead of going like Black Mountain and then going to Prim, I'm gonna start at Prim, kind of like you're progressing through the game. So you have to excuse me if there are some companions I forget, because I know that Lily is one of the companions that doesn't follow that circle around, and you can actually skip Jacobstown when playing the game, because I've done it so many times. So you'll have to excuse me if I forget a couple of companions. So let's start with Eddie, or EDE, or Edie, but I call him Eddie. I actually really like Eddie. It took me a while to use him because I've always used Rex. But Eddie's pretty good for like a sniper character, even though your perception, technically if you use like a sniper character, your perception would be higher. But I'm not including the Lonesome Road yet, because I want to get through the vanilla campaign or vanilla companions, and then once I do the DLCs, then I'll work up to that. So yeah, Eddie's perk of enhanced sensors is actually really good, even though it doesn't really change for me because my perception is already at like 6 usually. Like my regular like non-build just characters is always at like 6. And agility at 6, so I can get sniper, the sniper perk. But overall, I would say that's pretty. He's pretty good. Especially if like you have to like waste some perception points. For some reason, I don't know why you would. That's like a really good special stat. Or special whatever. Special mark? Whatever. special tag. There we go. I'll call it that. So that seems pretty good. I'm so awkward right now. So next would be Boone. Boone is, I mean, I do a lot of guns, a whole lot. So it does seem quicker to use him with a lot of guns, but I don't know. I really like his perk. You have to. I do not remember it at the top of my head. So yeah, I would say. But Boone is actually pretty good. His backstory is kind of sad. I'm. A lot of stuff doesn't make me sad nowadays. So if I say kinda, that's just the way I am. But I think he's the only companion to have two quests you can do, because one is for my baby where you have to, or one for my baby or whatever. I know one is in there, so where you have to like kill the dude or the person who kidnapped or sold his wife to Legion slavers. By the way, it's Jeannie Mae Crawford. Just to let you know. And then the second one is, I forgot to remember to forget, which is a awesome quest name, by the way. Let me just say. So, I would say, like, for someone who's starting out, I would say if you want to use him, by all means, go ahead. But I prefer a different companion who comes up now, actually. Veronica. I'm trying to keep bias away because I have used her in all of my, well, I haven't taken her to the Battle of Hoover Dam every time because, I don't know, whenever I first started off and got to the NCR ending, I was like, let me just use Boone, you know, because he's ex-NCR sniper and that's what he wants. So, yeah, so I really enjoy Veronica. A lot of builds that I see online, some of the builds don't say like use this companion or use Boone, for example, but I always end up using Veronica because even though like she's more of an up close and personal character, and there have been a couple of times I've shot at her and I've downed her, and I just got mad at her for getting in the way, but I've also got mad at my character for shooting at her. There is a way to keep Veronica while destroying the Brotherhood of Steel if you don't have the DLCs, because other than that, if you want to keep her with the DLCs, I would say just do the Lonesome Road and do not launch the missiles, because you get Brotherhood of Steel positive points or whatever, good positive reputation with them. And if you did all the quests and sided with McNamara as opposed to Harden, and get, like, that's the only way to be idolized by them, is if you finish Lonesome Road and do not destroy or do not send the missiles, which means you have to use Eddie to destroy them. So, if you get, there is a way to do it without being idolized. So bit of a tip. If you can also side with Harden, but I've never sided with Harden because that's a hard process and I need to rewatch a video because they've done it before. So if you side with McNamara, do all of his quests, including Eyesight to the Blind, you will get high enough reputation. But if you go over to Knight Torres at the Hidden Bunker Armory and you do her quest, where you have to retrieve a missing laser pistol over at Scorpion's Gulch, if you do it, well, if you finish it and you give it to her, then you can destroy the Brotherhood of Steel and keep Veronica. So if you choose to do the Mr. House ending, the Yes Man ending, for some reason I do it with the Legion, but something happens where like she'll go to like that part where you like turn the corner to go to start the Battle of Hoover Dam from that like long bridge after you leave the Legates camp. she'll just stay there. That's a weird thing. She'll just stay there. As if some enemy is there, or there's like an invisible wall stopping her from moving. So, that is something that is very annoying, but once you enter like a room, then it kind of just stops and she goes about her way. So yeah, so long story short, if you start with McNamara and then do Torres's, well, if you do McNamara's 2 quests that he gives you, which is Still in the Dark and Eyesight to the Blind, because Tend Your Business is hard and I've never done that one. And then I forgot one. Oh well, I'll go back to her. I forgot companion. Shit. And then you go and do, and then if you go to Black Mountain and do, or you plant that thing in there, I forgot what it's called, and then you report back to McNamara, he'll make you a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, and then you get power armor training, which is weird because in Fallout 4, you don't need the training at all. Let me just say, I prefer, power armor wise, I prefer Fallout 4 over Brotherhood of Steel because, or Fallout New Vegas, because that would be the only way you would be able to get power armor training, is if you side with the Brotherhood of Steel, which is the dumbest shit ever. But, I don't know, if you guys want, I might make a Fallout 4 game or review, because a lot of people may hate that review because reasons. So yeah, and if you do Knight Taurus's quest, and you turn in that Mystic Laser Pistol after you find it, you should have enough reputation, as long as you don't get the vilified reputation with the Brotherhood of Steel, you should be fine. Because vilified would be the only reputation you should not get, or you would not get if you want to keep Veronica. Other than that, you should be fine. If you want to keep, sorry with my word, if you want to keep Veronica, do not be vilified with the Brotherhood of Steel. You can become a soft-hearted devil, wild child, or whatever that other one is. But you will get like the lowest like possible, but not vilified, if you do Knight Taurus's quest for the vanilla Fallout. So I'm gonna go back because I skipped one, Cass, or Rose of Sharon Cassie, which is a fucking weird name. I don't use Cass a whole lot. I think Cass is one of the 3 companions I barely use. The only thing I don't like about her is the fact that she is like as absorbent with bullets as glasses. I swear to God, if you gave me like just Cass, she would get down more times with the amount of enemies we use. She'll be down more times than Veronica or Eddie would once, or Boom, because they're actually wearing some armor, or they're experienced with it, which I know seems weird that like Veronica wears robes, so you would think she's armored, but that damage threshold is 6. So if you have over, or I think exactly 6, then she'll wear whatever. But if you have under 6, she won't wear it, because her robes are better than that. Which seems weird if you think about it, but hey, Brotherhood of Steel, right? I've seen a lot of videos where people have used Cass, and it's just the comments that she uses just kind of bothers me. I mean, Arcade's the same way, but I don't. He's more forgiving. But what I like about Rose is, kind of like Veronica, she's one of the few people, or one of the few companions that doesn't really mind siding with the Legion. Her only flaw is if you have negative karma, then she'll just leave. So she's like so she's like Fallout 4 companions before those things existed. Although some of the companions are a bit more lenient towards those, and you don't really have karma in it. Doesn't matter anyways. So I would say if you're one of those people that uses like negative karma a lot, then just stay away from her, because it's not needed at all. But I don't know, some people like her, I don't, because I'd rather have a companion fight by me than be a fucking meat shield, or fight with me than just die halfway through the fight, or like at the beginning of the fight because she's barely protected. So that's not a rant. So next would be Arcade Ganon. Yeah, Arcade Ganon, because he shows up before Rex. Again, Arcade Ganon is kind of meh with me. To be honest, I've done Boone's Quest more times than Arcades. But even though it's just some, like I said, I like working with the Legion. So Arcade is very, like, probably just as or a bit more against it than Boone is, which is weird, because I would expect Boone to have a problem with it because he's had more experience or more problems with them, but whatever. And I just don't like the fact that he uses smarts in everything. I swear to God, you murder someone, he's like, well, hey, they could have cured cancer. It's like, I don't give a shit. Alright, I murdered, even though he doesn't comment on murdering someone, which is by far amazing, because if I murder someone, I have like companions like Nick or Piper or Fallout 4 who are just like, you shouldn't have done that, you're a horrible person. I don't give a shit. So yeah, I would say if you're using like an energy weapons build, I would say use Arcade, but other than that, just don't worry about him. Well, unless you want to do his personal quest and get the Enclave armor, or Ganon Remnant, or the Ganon Remnant's armor, then I would say just get that. So Rex is next. I used Rex a lot, especially during my high school days. He was, because I didn't know that you could have two, so I always had Rex. And I always gave him the brain of either, who the fuck is that dog's name from the Legion? I would always give her I would give him Old Lady Gibson's Ray's brain from Old Lady Gibson, or the Legion dog, depending on who I'm siding with. If I'm siding with the Legion, that would be the only time I'd give him the brains dog, because, well, or the brain of the dog. Mostly because of the fact that, well, I'm siding with the Legion. There's nothing more to it. But other than that, I give him Ray's brain. He's pretty good. Like I said, I enjoyed him. I played with him whenever in my high school days. So that's pretty much it. I don't have much to say. So I might go a bit off script here, and I'm gonna use Lily next. Lily's by far my least favorite. I have nothing against her. I just, like, I've used the other companions more times than her. I've used her maybe once or twice. As opposed to like companions like Raoul or Arcade or Rex. Well, but with Rex, I just do his quest and then I just send him back. That's all. But with Lily, it's mostly like I do her quest. I've done her quest maybe once, but whenever I'm in Jacobstown, I just use her for that guess who I saw today quest, and then I just leave her. I don't do anything like that because I'll end up getting her ending anyways. If you come in contact with her, that's it. You have her ending. Whether she dies or not, you still have it. I like, as much as I like gun companions, I would say Veronica's the exception to that rule because she's more skilled with it. With Lily, she seems to use both. there have been times where she's used both, even without without me telling her. Or whenever Jacobstown was attacked by Cazadors or Mantises, she would use the gun in some cases. And so whenever I bring her as a companion, she'll have the gun, but then I tell her to switch to the. I somehow tell her to switch to the gun. She's like, "Oh, I don't like that." And I'm like, "Well, you're using it right now." So there isn't much. I would just say, do guess if I saw it today, and then just leave. I wouldn't use her. But this is my opinion. My opinions don't matter because I'm on the internet. Opinions, people don't care about your opinions. Well, not all of them. And it's so Raul. Raul Alfonso Tejada. He's pretty cool. I've done a lot of times whenever I had him as a companion, I always did his quest. Once I figured out how to do it, at least. He does act color commentary, but it's one of those nice ones where, like, if you sneak, he's like, just let you know, it's hell on my back. So gotta be careful if you fight ghouls over, I think, at the Repcon up near Novak. He'll be like, why are you fighting? Why are you hitting me? I'm one of you guys. So he's really awesome, and he's voiced by Danny Trejo, an amazing actor. Well, to be fair, the Veronica is voiced by Felicia Day, who plays by far one of my favorite characters, Supernatural. But that's not important. I just want to point that out there for some of you guys who play Supernatural. I guess. Yeah, I would say, and his endings kind of, with a lot of these endings, it's all based off your decision. But unlike some of the other companion quests, this one doesn't show up. Like, Veronica's would appear, or Boone's, or Arcade's, or even Rosa Sharon Cassidy's. But his is just a miscellaneous quest. It's an unmarked quest, which is weird and difficult if you don't know what you're doing. But I have the internet, so I just googled the whole fucking thing. So yeah, I like him. So if I had to rank the companions, I would say, for me, Veronica, then Eddie, then Boone, Arcade, Rex, Cass, or no, yeah, because Rex takes more hits than Cass. Or no, okay, so then Rex, Raul, Cass, and then Lily. So yeah, that's my opinion. So before I move on to the DLC stuff, or the different add-ons, I'm going to tell you some stuff I don't like. And I used to, like, pretend to do this because I have a weird imagination, especially at 18. So I will say the biggest problem of mine is the lake lurks. I'm a pussy. Like, I'm the biggest pussy you will ever meet. I get well, okay, not now, but back then I used to get scared of everything. In fact, when I had like my teacher made me do a list of things I was scared of, and it was like front and back. So, but now I've kind of calmed that down. But Lake Lurks is one of those from like when I played it in high school to now, still bother the fuck out of me. A lot of stuff I was scared of in high school doesn't really bother me. Well, I first played it freshman year to around sophomore year. Actually, freshman year, because sophomore year I got rid of it. So there are a lot of stuff that like like the geckos don't really bother me anymore. I mean, I prefer to play it in third person, but if I play in a first person, they don't really scare me as much as it did freshman year during my high school days. But the Lake Lurks is like, I think, the only thing. Well, okay, aside from Night Stalkers, but I barely came across the Night Stalkers in high school. But Lake Lurks or Mirelurks in Fallout 3, because they'll scare me too. From Lake Lurks are the only things that from high school to now still scare the fuck out of me. Now, I'm working on it. It's not like I'm just seeing Light Lurks, and I'm like, oh no, but that was fucking stupid. But I will say it did take me a while to do Volare. In fact, the first time I finished it was whenever I first got it after high school, after I dropped out and moved here. So, but I would never do Volare. Whenever I got it during my high school day, I never did Volare. I would work up to that to Lake Mead, and then I would just stop. But keep in mind, I have never finished it whenever I played in high school because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And kind of sort of like pick your own adventure, choose your own ending games were kind of weird for me and kind of new to me because I've always stuck to games like Call of Duty or Rock Band. So games like those were kind of weird, new to me. And then here I am, like almost a year later, or almost a few years later, and now that's all I ever play. No, I'm kidding. I do play a lot of Fallout though, which was very interesting coming from me. Anyways, so I would say Lake Lurks are the only thing that bother me, or that I don't like about it. There are some other stuff I don't like that I can't think of at the top of my head, but I don't want to say it's a terrible game. I would say that of all the Fallout games I have, which is like all of 3, New Vegas 4, and 76, so I basically have all the available ones on console, because you need like a PC or a Mac for some of those, and I don't have one. So all of the available ones you can get on console, I have. And I would say that New Vegas is my favorite, even though I have a lot of complaints about it, mostly because that since it was made in 18 months, I learned that there is stuff that happens that I can't really control. Well, okay, so Veronica's Quest would barely show up, and I learned how to control that one. Just don't play the game for like a few days, and then you should be fine. I went and spent a whole week not playing it, and then I came back, and it was fine. So, but then whenever I had to do Come Fly With Me, after I cleared the night can, I couldn't come back to tell Jason Bright they're gone. So instead, in my ending, they couldn't leave because the asshole or the game didn't recognize that I cleared the night can from the basement. So something like that seems. It's a minor thing. It hasn't happened to me since. It happened to me once, and that was on like my 10th playthrough, I think. I don't know. I've done the quest a lot for up to that point where that one time just happened. So now I'm gonna go over DLCs, but how I'm gonna do it is instead of doing like what appears first in order of the Courier storyline, I'm gonna do it based off how I play through it, because 3 of the 4 main DLCs, so I'm not doing Gunrunner's Arsenal or Courier Stash because those add fucking nothing, or they don't change the game story-wise in any way. Now, we'll neither do the others, but to the main storyline, they add nothing. There is no story to these, because Gunrunner's Arsenal just adds guns, new guns to them, and Courier Stash is just something you get at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to be doing the Dead Money, Honest Hearts, Old World Blues, and Lodestone Road DLCs. Now, I'm going to start with Honest Hearts, and then I'm going to work in the order that I play through them, mostly because Honest Hearts is the only one that doesn't have a level requirement, and if there is, they haven't told me, but I doubt, because that's really easy. And then, so I'm going to do Honest Hearts, then Old World Blues, then Dead Money, and then Lonesome Road, because those are the orders I do them. So I don't want you guys to think like, oh, Dead Money is first. No. While it is in the Courier storyline, you need level requirements for that one. And it's a pretty high level requirement, and for damn good reason. Holy shit, I'll get to that in a moment. So let me start with Honest Hearts. So I started watching Honest Hearts videos way before, or I won't say way before, but before I got the Ultimate Edition. thanks to Oxhorn. I watch a lot of his Fallout videos, so that's where I kind of got the Mr. House thing from. I didn't want to mention him that early on. So I would watch Oxhorn's Honest Hearts videos, and then after I finished it, I was like, this is a... I have to say, Honest Hearts is by far my favorite DLC. Mostly because of the fact that, like I said, I like the Legion, and so Joshua Graham was an ex-Legionnaire, and so seeing Joshua Graham was very awesome to me. I really enjoyed seeing him in the game, and he's an amazing companion. I would say he's definitely top. Well, obviously top 3. There's like 3 companions in Honest Hearts, but he's maybe top 2, or maybe he's number 1 on there. Even though like even though there are some restrictions to him, like you can't access his inventory, you can't speak to him when he's your companion. I don't think so. I've never done it because I know there's some stuff he doesn't like, and I don't want to risk that one. So. And then I'm very infatuated with like religious stuff, even though I'm not a religious person myself. That's not important. That's controversial. Anyway, moving on. I don't know why I do that. Just go on with it. But something like that is really interesting to me, and the fact that there are only 2 endings is a bit better than 4. Because there you have like a 50-50 chance of being happy with what you want, as opposed to like a 25% chance, which is possible. Or you have you may have a 50-50 shot of getting the wrong ending, seeing as though there aren't any right endings. Where as opposed to the vanilla or the main story, you have like a 25% chance of getting the wrong ending. Again, depending on how you look at it. But I would say like the peacefulness of the sorrows, or I wouldn't say the dead horses, they're more violent. It is a bit weird to me. I think Daniel is a pretty odd companion, or not. He's the only character you run into that's not a companion. Shit. He's a pretty weird character. He's a pacifist, but he's one of those where like you see him and you know. Some of the other, because if you were to meet people in real life, you could it'd be hard to tell that they're a pacifist, but with Daniel, you just know. I would say Waking Cloud is an interesting companion. She has the Deathclaw Gauntlet, or not the Deathclaw, the Yaogwai Gauntlet. Or I'll just call it She's Embrace because it looks very similar to the one, or it looks very similar to She's Embrace, even though it's just the same fucking thing. Yeah, and then Follow Shock. I think it's an interesting name. So I have nothing. To be honest, the only negative thing I could tell you about Honest Hearts is the Yaogwai, because as opposed to like Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, the Yaogwai is pretty difficult. Granted, I've barely fought any Yaogwai in Fallout 3 because I've always got the animal friend, and in Fallout 4, they're not that difficult at all. If anything, I would say they're more fat and less muscular in Fallout 4 than Fallout New Vegas and 3. So there isn't really much negatives I can tell you about this. Now, Old World Blues is the exception. I have so many negative things about it. So I'm going to start with the good things. I can't think of any because there's so many negative stuff. Okay, so the Night Stalkers, I do not like snakes in real life. So and I love dogs in real life. So a Night Stalker is probably the worst thing to happen because even though I like dogs, snakes are the bottom of the barrel for me. And they're pretty fucking difficult to kill. Let me just say, there are robots every corner. and you need all of these speech checks to do it. I swear to God, I have killed the scientists in the think tank more times. Keep in mind, I've played it 4 times, and of those 4 times, I managed to save them once. That's a 20. That's like a 75% chance of the time that they won't end up dead because of speech checks. Speech checks and fucking other different speech checks like body checks, science checks, all of that, they have nothing to do with my character, because I prefer playing a sniper character because that's entertaining to me. And I can tell you firsthand that this DLC sucks. Again, personal opinion, I've seen some people like it. I don't understand why, but I'm willing to understand, and that's their opinion. I respect it because I'm a genuine fucking human being. I hate people. If that's the moral of this story, I hate people. No. There is, I would say weapon-wise, if we're going off weapons, I would say those are the best parts of Old World Blues. But other than that, there's no, in my opinion, there's nothing good about this DLC. I hate it. It's probably the worst one, and I didn't think about like what this has to deal with, like the courier's journey, because yes, Ulysses is mentioned in it, and some of these other ones that you see him in Lonesome Road. This one was kind of weird to me because I didn't know that you met up with, because I didn't know that Ulysses in some way was in this one. So something like that is was very confusing, but after a while I understood why, and I still think it's the worst DLC in this goddamn game. A lot of people will say this next one, but I disagree, because unlike the next one, this one has no redeemable qualities about it at all. So anyway, speaking of the next one, Dead Money. A lot of people hate this one, and while I can understand, it is redeemable. So I'm gonna go over. Oh, and by the way, Old World Blues, no companions. I'm more of a companion person myself. Especially if you were to come over to my house and you would watch me play, I always use a companion. Not a day goes by, I would try and get a companion. In fact, I would go. The first thing I would do on my travels is find parts for Eddie, so the second I reach him, he's my companion. And I've stuck with him from the time I reached Prim to the very end, given I don't use Rex as a companion, which has happened more times than I can count. Probably 3. 3 or 4, or I don't know, doesn't matter. But with Dead Money, you have really good companions. A lot of guys, if you remember from earlier in the video, I said Veronica's my favorite companion, and spoiler alert, I don't know where the spoilers, she's a lesbian, and which I have no problem with, but she dated someone who was with the Brotherhood of Steel, and she appears in Dead Money. Christine Royce. It was confirmed by the people who made the game. Well, one of them, not all of them. So, I really enjoy Christine because she's one of those where if you know what you're doing, she'll be nice to you. The first time I didn't know what I was doing, and well, okay, so from the first time I did it to now, even, she's always been nice to me because I let her do I always followed her demands, which is something you have to do. You have to follow the demands of your companions if you want them to like you. But I'll talk about some of the stuff that kind of gives it that doesn't give it a good review. And like I said, I love the Brotherhood of Steel. They're by far my favorite faction or side faction. I guess minor faction in Fallout New Vegas. So seeing Elijah who's also linked to Veronica, makes this a better DLC than Old World Blues. To be honest, any DLC added will be better any DLC that would have been added is better than would be better than Old World Blues, in my opinion. I'm sticking by that. So let's go over some of the negatives. And trust me, there aren't as many as good ones, but I do like. I will say this: I do like the companions. I do like some of the weapons added. I do play a lot of blackjack in the Mojave, and so with my sniper build, with the if you have the 308 vending thing, that can sort of help you out with the ammunition for the sniper build if you know how to play blackjack. And let me just say, I did, and I had like 6,000 ammunition by the end of it. So easily, if you know how to play blackjack and you do a sniper build or use any weapons that use the 308, I would say find the 308 vendor thing. I forgot what it's called. Don't attack me for it. I can't remember. And then play blackjack. You would have so much ammunition that you could just save your caps for whatever. So let's move on to the negatives. I start with the minor ones and then get onto the major one, because a lot of people who play the game, who watch this, will know what part I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to start with like the little things that bother me in this one, as opposed to Old World Blues, where I just started with like the things that I liked because there wasn't many, or with Honest Hearts, where I just started with the things that it wasn't like minor to major. So kind of like what I did with companions, I just went in order. So, but with this one is by far like everyone's least favorite. I noticed. So I will talk about the things I don't like, and then we'll move up to like the minor things versus the major. Just so that way, people who hate the game get the time to like hear my opinion before they get onto the major one. So the minor one, I would say, is Dog/God. Whenever you meet up with him after you get into the Sierra Madre, you have to pass a speech check to save him, and kind of like the first time, okay, and kind of like what I did with I forgot who it was. Oh yeah, with think tanks, where I had like I killed them all 4 times, or all 3 of the 4 times I did this. With Dog, it's the same way, although I had to restart one of my characters because I messed up somehow. So I won't count that as a success rate. Or then I guess I shouldn't count the 4 times I've killed, the 3 of the 4 times I killed the think tank, so 2 of the 3 times. But the thing is kind of like the think tank, you need to pass a speech check to save him. And that is really stupid. At least I haven't found a way to do it. Because I haven't watched any videos of it, and I need to. But I'm pretty sure you need a speech check for that one to save Dog. And then the middle is that the ghost people are really hard to kill. And I'm not just talking about the fact that like once they're down, you have to like behead them. No, I'm talking about like getting them down to the ground, up to points so that way you can't decapitate them. That part's really hard. I've had to like skip through some ghost people part because they were that difficult. There are some other things that don't really bother me a whole lot about it. Such as when you're outside the Sierra Madre, those like speaker things, they don't really bother me a whole lot. But now let's get on to the major one. Getting to the vault is by far the most bullshit thing I've ever had to deal with. And a lot of people may be like, yeah, I knew exactly what you were talking about. But for some of you guys who do not know what I'm talking about, let me explain. So, whenever you first load up the Dead Money DLC, you're kidnapped by Elijah. Everything's been taken from you except for the quest items or essentials. Which I think also includes the Vault 13 canteen. I cannot remember. So, Elijah tells you that you are hooked up to a collar. And, whenever you reach the police station to get Dog/God, he tells you that speakers are the problem. Speakers, ham radios, affect your Pip-Boy because you're the only one that uses it. It doesn't affect others, but it affects yours. So, if you don't clear the radio in time, you die, or if you don't leave the range of the radio or the speakers or whatever, you die, which risks your other companions to die. And so there's one part after you reach the vault where some of the speakers are shielded, and in that one, all of the speakers except one is shielded, which means you have to run through the thing, get to a safe distance, and do that every time. And then once you reach a terminal, you have to turn it off and then back up. You have to turn some stuff off, I can't remember, and then you have to back up to finish it. I have died in that area pretty sure more times than I've actually played New Vegas. Like, maybe 30 times. And that was just in the first playthrough, because I didn't know what to do. I saw a video, and the guy did it easily. Like, he just walked up to it, like, facing it, and then he turned around and then walked back. But with this one, so the way to do it is you access the terminal, and then as the terminal is getting set, you want to back up. So the second you activate the terminal, you want to back up to get a head start, turn it off, and then just keep backing up, and you should be fine. That's how I did it every time. But you have to shoot the speaker once you reach a safe distance. There is one speaker you have to shoot, and that's to help you keep the safe distance, because they didn't want to make it impossible, even though it's borderline impossible. But other than that, I would advise, like, don't keep the, and there is gold you get at the end. I will say, do not access all of the terminals, but do not side with Elijah. Just activate one terminal screen. Do not try and go through all of it, because you will have a premature ending. And this is where I advise people, don't explore every option, because there are 2 premature endings which I do not advise at all. Another thing I don't advise is getting the gold. If your charisma is 1, do not get the gold, because it's borderline useless. But the only thing I will say is, just leave Elijah. Just the second Elijah comes down, just run. Go back in the direction you came from. You should be fine. Just leave the gold in the vault, because I've done that every time and I've been fine. I'm not like, oh, I wish I got the gold. Just leave it. So I would say overall, it's a pretty decent mod. Not mod, DLC. Have I been saying mod this whole time? Oops, I meant DLC. So anytime I ever say mod, just replace it with DLC. Then we'll move on to my second favorite DLC, Lonesome Road, which is by far the most difficult, but that's what makes it fun. Again, I love the Legion. Ulysses was an ex-Legionnaire, or probably still is. He was a part of the Twisted Hairs that was absorbed into the Legion by Volpez and Colta, which is by far my favorite Legion character. And so, there is a way to finish it peacefully if you don't have the speech checks, either by going through Eddie's logs and actually paying attention to what he says, or going through the speech options with him, or finding his tapes. But you gotta be careful, because you have to listen to them all, because otherwise you'll just get like fake persuasions. And if you don't have speech checks, you could do that there. I've managed to do it once during my sniper playthrough, where I ended up ending peaceful with him, because I love peaceful endings, because I'm not that violent. Coming from a guy who murders NCR members as the Legion. Anyways, I do like the fact that this has like the most rewards in there, because I'm a guns person, so I'm more of a medium armor myself also, so you do get a duster, but you also get the elite riot gear, which adds critical chance to your weapons, along with the first recon beret that you get from Boone after completing the quest 1 for my baby. So Other than that, really good stuff. The only thing I don't like about it is the tunnelers, because the tunnelers are very hard to kill. And I would say maybe, I won't say the death claws, because the death claws, if you know what you're doing, side note, if you know what you're doing, death claws are pretty easy to kill. A lot of people say like, oh, that's the hardest thing to kill. No, Night Stalkers are more difficult than death claws. And that's coming from me, because they have like the most, I've dealt with them the most. I've barely dealt with death claws. Sorry, my speech is fucking terrible. So, yeah, and so with medium clothing, you get a duster that changes based off your reputation with the 4 major factions: NCR, Legion, House. Yes, man. If you have positive reputation with the NCR or low reputation with the Legion, you get the NCR duster. Vice versa, with the Legion, you get a Legion duster. Now, if you have no, like, low reputation with the Legion and NCR, you get the House duster. Or if you have positive reputation with the Strip, you get the House duster, which is weird, because people are saying like you should, if you want, you could blow up the SDR / the Legion and then go get the Platinum chip, or go speak with Mr. House, and then your reputation is wiped clean. But at that point, if you side with Mr. House, you're gonna have to go to meet Mr. House before doing Lonesome Road to get that. But if you have negative karma or neutral karma with both NCR and Legion, you just get the Yes Man, which I think is probably the best, because you get +1 luck. Maybe I'm thinking of Mr. House. Doesn't matter. So I know this, even though this game came out like 10 years ago, I decided to review it because I recently started playing it. Well, I started playing it like almost a year ago. Well, okay. So graduate. So it's April. I got this game in like June, July. So yeah, almost a year coming up. And I wanted to review this because this is by far, aside from Black Ops 2, I say that's the greatest game, or my favorite game of all time. Even though New Vegas is like creeping up behind. Like, if there was a person, and like New Vegas would be touching Black Ops 2. It's barely there. I just want to get this out there because I don't know. I wanted to do a review, and I thought I'd do it on this because even though this game's older than Black Ops 2, I had a chance to do Black Ops 2. But I played this game more. So yeah, that is my review of New Vegas. I'm pretty sure there's some stuff I'm missing. I don't really care, because I just want to get this out there, because I hope that for some of you people who don't play Fallout, I hope you guys give Fallout a chance. It's actually a really good game than you may think, because you may think it's like, oh, about surviving the nuclear fallout, but there's more to it than just surviving a fallout. There's a story to it, and I hope that with games like Fallout New Vegas 4 or 3, I don't know why the fuck you would play that one. That's by far my least favorite, and I have 76. Because Fallout 3 is by far my least favorite game, and I have 76, where a lot of people say that that's the worst Fallout. I disagree. I think, in my opinion, Fallout 3 is the worst, because I haven't been able to complete it because I'm such a fucking pussy with my alerts and all that. But that's my personal reasons for why I don't like Fallout 3. But I hope for some of you guys, somehow, if you watch this, I hope you guys give this a chance to just give Fallout a try, because as someone who had this game and just never played it, I hated Fallout. And then I was like, you know what, I'll give it a chance, let me get New Vegas again. And then I started playing it, and after I beat it, I was like, this game is fun. So, I hope, so to like the 3 people watching this who don't play Fallout, give it a try. I would start with Fallout New Vegas and then Fallout 4, or who knows, you can start with whatever, but I advise you guys start out with New Vegas because it's everyone loves the game. And so I hope you guys just give it a chance. If you don't like it, that's fine. It's kind of like pineapple on pizza. If you hate it but you've never tried it, then you are the worst type of person. But if you've tried it and you don't like it, or if you hate it and you haven't tried it, you're the worst person. If you've tried it and hate it, that's fine. I love pineapple on pizza. That's good. That's very controversial. So yeah, I feel like Fallout's the same way. Well, with a lot of stuff. If you hate it and you haven't tried it, then you need to stop saying you hate it because you haven't tried it. And I advise anyone watching, whether this is now or 3 years from now, or 100 years from now, or never, and I'm speaking to myself, give it a try. I advise you guys to just try it. Try all 4 endings or try one ending, depending on which one you want. I advise if you do want to play it, I advise all 4 endings before you give your final thoughts, because you may say like, oh, I hate this ending, and you've only done one ending. So I advise you guys try different endings, because even if there's one you don't like, by the way, no ending is the good ending, because there's always some negatives to this game. The NCR overtaxes people, the Legion's the fucking Legion, they kidnap, enslave, and from what I hear, rap people, based off what Meaning Lad says. House is just overtaxing people, and then with Yes Man, it's anarchy. So there is no good ending to the NCR. So yeah, long story short, give Fallout a try. Play the 4 endings to however long until you're happy with the ending. And if you don't like it, fine. If you do like it, I advise playing other Fallout games, because that adds a new experience to it, because you're like, huh, this is different than in Fallout New Vegas. Like fucking companion reactions. Companions in New Vegas, shut the fuck up. But with Fallout 4, you can romance your companions, which is a big problem, because I have an addiction. And so if you use companions like Piper or Kate or McCready, you can romance them. And so you have to go up to the special likings, which is what I do, especially if I use people like Piper. But that's a different time. Getting off track. So yeah, that is my review. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And I know this is like my first video in like 3 months or so. But the reason that is because I'm going through like a lot of mental stuff. So I'll try and release at least more videos. I have an idea for a video where I play those games where like the ads are like, oh, this is impossible, but they're actually really easy, or who knows, but I want to start uploading more. So yeah, sorry if this was awkward. I'm a very awkward person. Especially with what I'm going through with my with my nose being stuffy. I don't know what's going on, so you have to excuse this video for being like 1 hour and 8 minutes long. I can see at the bottom, like right here in my phone, so I know how long this is. But yeah, and I've been going through a lot of mental stuff, and personally, I really want to get back into making videos, because that's the whole reason I made this channel. Well, that, and I can comment whatever the fuck I want, and I can subscribe to people who I enjoy. So yeah, make sure you leave a like on the video if you do enjoy this, and leave a comment if you want more, if you think I should kill myself, because that's gonna happen, I guarantee it. If I'm stupid and that I'm wrong, and I think that, or if you think just whatever, if you want me to do another review, and yeah, I'm sorry about the killing myself thing.